Okay.
The 20th of January, Rabbi Levitt Gemora.
Okay, so we are here, and we did this Rashi over here. Rashi's explaining the view of Rav. So what's the case over here that we're talking about? We started today from the Itmar. Itmar, we got a case. Hamocher, it's 5 lines down from the top of page Yud Dalet Amud Beis. Itmar, the Amoraim say, Hamocher sadeh lechavero nimsus she'enu shelo. You got somebody that sold a field to his friend, and then it came out that it wasn't his. Whose wasn't it? Rashi says it didn't belong to the mocher. Shaisa gzula biyado. It was gezel in his hand. He's really this mocher. He's really the gazlan. He guzzled this property from the true owner. Nigzel bo motzi miyad lokeach. Then the one that was stolen from, he now goes and recovers the property from the purchaser who purchased it from the gazlan. So now what we want to know is what's the din? What is this purchaser? What's he entitled to as reparations for his loss? He bought property, and now he doesn't. Now it's taken away from him. So it's a machlokes between Rav and Shmuel. Rav says yesh lo mos, yesh lo shevach. He's entitled to money, and he's entitled to, meaning the purchase price of the property, and he's also entitled to shevach for anything that he did to improve the value of the property. And on this last Rashi asked a question over here. Who is going to have to pay for this? Who's the purchaser of this property? Who's he getting this from? Well, certainly the purchase price of the property he gave to the gazlan that sold it to him. So that he's going to be the one to give back the money for the purchase price. But what about the improvement of the property? So Rashi says that just like the gazlan has to pay for the purchase price, he's also going to have to pay for the improvements that the buyer made to the property. So Rashi asked the question. It's unusual for Rashi to ask a question, but he says, "Im tomar hanigzel yitain hashevach." Let the if you'll ask, why don't you give the obligation to reimburse for the improvements to the nigzal, the one who the property was stolen from, and now he's recovered the property, and now he recovered property that has been improved. So he should have to pay the purchaser for those improvements that he made, not the gazlan. Sherei heshivu karka mishubachas, because he's getting back property mishubachas, like a very nice, nicely improved property. So Rashi says, the Bach just puts in over there, the base sends it to the Bach. The Bach says, Yesh Lomar, says Rashi, you'll have to say that we're talking about a case, Kigon Chegazla Mishubachas. No, because the property was already improved property at the time of the theft of the property, when the Gazlan stole it. The Heksifa, Biad Hagazlan, and the property went down in value. It degraded in the hands of the Gazlan. So the Gazlan is going to have to pay for that too. And he'll give that to the purchaser. Okay. Okay, so that was according to Rav. But now, or was that according to Shmuel? Who said what? Yeah, that was what Rav said. And now Shmuel says otherwise. Shmuel said, Mos yesh lo, Shevach ein lo. So now there's no real Rashi on this Shevach ein lo. Rashi just says L'kamim beforish taima. Gemora is going to explain the reason for Shmuel soon. So we'll sit tight on that. Okay, so now we're up to Boy Minei Me Rav Huna. So you want to read, Lou?
Boy Minei Me Rav Huna.
Yeah.
They inquired of Rav Huna. Perash lo es hashvach mahu. What is the law where the seller explicitly stated to the purchaser that he would compensate him for the improvements? The English says if the field was stolen property, does the purchaser collect compensation for his improvements from the seller? Tama de Shmuel mishum delo perash shevacha. It is the reasoning of Shmuel that he does not collect improvements from the seller because the seller did not explicitly accept responsibility for improvements if the land was seized. Oh no, is it? This is a question. Is it the reasoning of Shmuel? V'hacha ha perash la. But here, in this case, since he explicitly accepted responsibility for the improvements, he must compensate the purchaser. Odilma Tama to Shmuel. Or maybe the reasoning of Shmuel, Kavan Deles Le Karka. Since the land is not the seller's, the money forwarded to him is not viewed as payment, but as a loan.
It's like Karka, Mechse Karibis.
Mecheza Karibis. Therefore, when the purchaser receives compensation for his improvements, in addition to the return of the principal, it appears as if he received interest on the loan. If so, even where the seller explicitly agrees to compensate the purchaser for his improvements, it still resembles interest, and the purchaser may not be compensated.
Okay, let's take a look. We got some Rashis over here. The first Rashi starts with Shevach Ein Lo. That was really from before. That was what Shmuel said. Shevach Ein Lo in the Gemora. So let's start from the next Rashi. Pirish Lo Es HaShevach.
Pirish is explained to him. He explains to him the improvements. Okay, so he tells him about the improvements. He lists it for him, so to speak. And then now it says Kisha Machara when he sells it to him. Hatana, he when he sold it to him, the Tana, no, it was the Tana.
Isna. He made a condition with him.
He made a condition. Im yit parei, if you'll like take it out of your hand, Ashalem, I will pay you et hashevach mehem. I will pay you the improvements out of it. That's a condition on the sale.
Right. So that's the question that was put to Rav Huna, and actually some say that it was Rav Yehuda. Okay, whatever. But right. So that's the question. And just refreshing our recollection, the Gemora said, "Time of the Shmuel mishum delo pirish shivcha." Oh, this is the speaking out of the question. Maybe the reason of Shmuel was that he said that he's not entitled to get reimbursed for the shevach is because the lo pirish shivcha, because the seller did not stipulate with him that if the land is taken away from him, he'll get reimbursed. He'll reimburse him for the improvements that he made on the property. But in the question, in our case here, we're talking that he stated so explicitly, made an express condition that that's what he's going to do. And so therefore, even Shmuel would agree that in this case, where he specified, he's going to get it. He's going to get in addition to the purchase price, he's also going to get the value for the improvements that he made into the property. And now the property is taken away from him. Oh, Dilma. Or maybe we say otherwise. Time of the Shmuel came in the lace lake karka. Metzia karibis. Since he doesn't have karka, so it looks like ribis. Okay, let's see what does that mean over there? That's a little bit not clear what that means. And Rashi is going to help us. Came in the lace lake karka. Lou, you want to read this one?
Okay. Let's see if I can find it. Kevon. Kevon Delesle Karka. Let's see, he doesn't have any land. Ho'il ve'ein karka zo shelo nimtza she'ein kan shum makar v'hamaos malo etzlo mishalem yoter mima shinatal machazei karibis. Since that he doesn't have any land.
Who's he?
That's the seller.
Yeah.
Shalo nimtza, that we don't find.
In Zoom Shalo.
There isn't here anything. Makar from the sale.
Yeah. There's no ein kan shum mecher. There was nothing that was sold over here. He didn't have land to sell. So it comes out that there was no sale of anything. So but he gave him money, so what was that money?
Bahamaos,
and the money
Malo Etzlo.
Milva.
Milva. The borrower, it's by him. The money's by him.
The money that he gave him constitutes a loan. He gave him a loan. The purchaser, the money that he gave the money that the purchaser gave to the seller was ostensibly a loan because there's no land to buy. So the money that he gave him, we regard it as he gave him a loan.
He gave him a loan, ukimishalem, and the payment yoter shinatal, the additional payment yoter, from what that shinatal that he gave him, machazi kiribis, it appears to be ribis.
Yeah. What appears to be ribis over here?
Well, wait a second. He said that the money that he gave him was a loan.
Right.
Says the payment, if he pays him for the improvement.
Oh, right. If he's going to pay him for the improvements, so now it looks like let's say the land was $1 million, and so if he's going to pay him $1.5 million, so that looks like ribis.
Right.
That's what Rashi's saying. Ukisha mashalem, and when the seller pays him, right, because he's supposed to give him back the purchase price for the land, and since he specified that he's gonna pay him also for the improvements that he made in the land, so that's another $500,000. So he's going to give him $1.5 million. When he does that, that's yoter mimashin notal. That's more than what the seller took from him. He only took from him $1 million, and now he's giving him back $1.5 million. Mexico ribis. That looks like ribis to us.
Wait, what do you mean he's giving him back? The seller says, "Here, I'm selling you this property for $1 million."
Right.
The buyer gives the seller $1 million.
Right.
So now we say that's a loan. The buyer just loaned the seller $1 million.
Yeah, because there was no sale because the seller was a goslin. He didn't own the land that he was selling.
So now the seller says, "Oh, I see." The buyer says, "I improved the land." So therefore, what? You give
even more than that. Not the seller said at the time of the deal, at the time of the sale, he said, "Look, I'm going to promise you that if you make improvement, if this land gets taken away from you, so not only will I refund your money back, but I'll also pay for any improvements that you made on the field."
Oh, so when the seller pays for the improvements, it looks like he's giving him interest because he's back $1.5 million.
Yeah.
And he borrowed $1 million from him.
Right.
Got it.
So that's the second side of the question. Do we look at it like that, and he would not, and it looks like ribis, and therefore he would not be able to give it back to him, even if he promised it to him? Or do we say that no, that since he promised it to him, so even Shmuel would agree that he's entitled to the seller is the buyer is entitled to get the improvements back also. That's the question that's being put to Rav Huna, and now he's going to respond. Do you have any time? Yeah. 7 minutes. So Amalei. Let's go back into the Gemora. It's the first words in the line. Aleph / Lamed. About 15 lines down from the top.
Is that Amalei or Amar Lahu?
Amalei.
Let's see. Amalei Ein V'Lav. Okay, I have Amar Lahu in my book.
Oh yeah, why do they say that?
The English says Rav Huna first told them yes.
I see, because it's a rabbim who's asking him the question. It says Bo Minei. They asked Rav Huna the question, so it says Amar Lahu because he is answering them back.
He said to them yes. V'lav v'rafya biyadei. Then he reconsidered and said no.
First he said in, and then he said love, and then Rafya biyadei.
He was uncertain about the matter.
So he said in, and then he said love. What did in mean, and what did love mean that he said?
Here, it was loose in his hand. Biyadav, let's see. Biyadei. Rafia means loose.
Yeah.
Rafia biyadei means it was loose in his hand. He was indecisive because he was unsure of the reason for Shmuel's ruling, according to Rashi.
Let's see Rashi. There's a Rashi over here. In Valav.
In V'Lav. That's like a yes and a no. Okay. In, he says in, which is yes, and then he says V'Lav, and then no. Techila at the beginning, Amar, he said in. He said yes. V'Chazar, and he retracted, V'Amar Lav, and then he said no. Rafyahu, and here's this word Rafya, that it is. Hadavar biyado, the thing in his hand. Yolo haya, you do it. This is that it wasn't known. Taimo, the reason is shel davar yafa, of the thing was good. He basically figured it out. He kind of like changed his mind on this, kind of like reconsidered. I guess Rafi is like reconsidering.
The matter was Rafui in his hand. What does that mean that it was Rafui in his hand? It says Rashi Shalo Haya Yodea Tamo Shal Davar Yafeh. He didn't know very well the reasoning of the matter. And Art Scroll is explaining which reasoning are we talking about? We're talking about the reasoning of Shmuel, because the Gemora is asking according to Shmuel. Now, you might have asked the question, why is the Gemora explaining according to Shmuel? What about Rav? So I would say, according to Rav, it's not nothing. Rav already told us that he gets not only the purchase price, but he also gets the improvements. So according to Rav, we don't have any question, because we're talking about a case where he didn't even where the seller did not even specify anything. Rav says that he's got to give him both the purchase price as well as the improvements. But Shmuel said no, he doesn't get the improvements. So now the Gemara is asking, what if he was meforesh? He explicitly promised the improvements. So do we say that Shmuel said, oh, the reason why Shmuel said no is because he didn't specify? But if he specified, of course he's obligated to do what he specified he's going to do. Or do we say no, he's not allowed to do that because it's ribis? Maybe it looks like ribis. He can't do it. So that question, he first said in, true, yes, and then he said no.
Yeah, well,
and then he didn't know how to. He didn't know whether to say yes or no. So it was roughly beyond it. He didn't know what the reason why Shmuel said what he said.
Right. The art scroll note on this says that the rafia means literally it was bayado, it was loose in his hand because he was unknown. He was indecisive because he was unsure of the reasoning.
Yeah. What's the reason? In other words, the reason that we're talking about is he didn't know exactly what the basis of Shmuel's decision was based upon. All we know is that Shmuel said in a case where the seller did not promise that he was going to pay anything for improvements. So in that case, we know that Shmuel said he's not entitled to the seller's not the buyer's not entitled to receive it at all from anybody. But now in this case where he promised him, the seller promised him that he's going to reimburse him if the land is taken away from him. So now we got a question according to Shmuel. Do we look at it like this? Do we look at it like that? And he didn't have any. He didn't know how to. He didn't know. Okay.
Okay. Take care. It's time now, so we'll pick up tomorrow.
Okay. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.